One Chinese Type 093 nuclear submarine surfaces 52 miles from Pearl Harbor. America's Pacific Defense Grid goes into emergency lockdown within 8 minutes. November 17, 2025, 4:47 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. USS Hawaii, a Virginia-class attack submarine, detects an anomaly. Sonar operator identifies cavitation patterns. The signature matches Chinese Navy's most advanced attack submarine. Distance: 52 nautical miles from the largest U.S. naval base in the Pacific. The submarine isn't hiding anymore. It's announcing its presence. This wasn't an accident. This was a message. The Type 093 Shang-class submarine had been shadowing U.S. carrier movements for 11 days. 6,800 tons of steel. Crew of 110. Armed with YJ-18 anti-ship missiles. Range: 290 miles. But intelligence officers knew something else. This particular vessel carried specialized signals intelligence equipment. Price tag: $1.7 billion. Its mission wasn't combat, it was collection. Every radio frequency, every encrypted transmission, every training exercise pattern, all recorded, all analyzed, all sent back to Beijing. Pentagon brass received the alert at 2:51 p.m. Eastern Time. Within 14 minutes, Vice Admiral Patricia Chen activated SOSUS, the sound surveillance system. 47 underwater listening stations across the Pacific lit up. 3 P-8 Poseidon aircraft scrambled from Marine Corps Base Hawaii, each loaded with Mark 54 torpedoes, each carrying sonobuoys capable of detecting submarines at 15 miles. The response was immediate. The message was clear. You want to play in our waters? Let's play. What's your weapon of choice for submarine hunting? Type A for aircraft drop torpedoes. Type B for submarine versus submarine engagement. Drop your answer below. The Chinese captain made a critical calculation. He surfaced briefly. International waters. Technically legal. But 52 miles from Pearl Harbor? That's not navigation. That's reconnaissance. That's intimidation. U.S. Navy doctrine is explicit. Any submarine operating within 200 nautical miles of Hawaiian waters gets full attention, full tracking, full response. USS Hawaii moved first. Virginia-class submarines are America's apex predators. 7,800 tons. Crew of 134. Armed with Mark 48 torpedoes and Tomahawk missiles. Top speed classified, but intelligence estimates put it above 35 knots submerged. The Type 093 can manage 30 knots. Speed matters when you're being hunted. At 5:23 a.m., USS Hawaii established positive contact. Range: 8 nautical miles. The Chinese submarine Dove. Depth: 400 feet. Standard evasion protocol. But USS Hawaii's sonar suite includes the TB-29 thin-line towed array. Detection range: 20 miles in optimal conditions. The Chinese submarine wasn't escaping, it was being catalogued. Every mechanical noise, every propeller blade rate, every reactor coolant pump frequency, all recorded into U.S. Navy databases. 3 P-8 Poseidon aircraft arrived overhead at 5:41 a.m. Each aircraft dropped a pattern of sonobuoys, 36 buoys total, creating an acoustic net 40 miles wide. The Chinese submarine was inside a cage made of sound waves and electronic surveillance. Every move tracked, every course change anticipated. But Beijing wasn't backing down. At 6:15 a.m., 2 Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy destroyers altered course. Destination: Hawaiian waters. Type 055 cruisers, 12,500 tons each, armed with YJ-18 anti-ship missiles, HHQ-9 surface-to-air missiles, and U-8 anti-submarine rockets. Distance from Hawaii: 890 nautical miles. Speed: 30 knots. Time to arrival: 30 hours. This was Escalation. Admiral Chen convened an emergency command conference at 6:33 a.m. USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group was 420 miles northwest of Hawaii, conducting routine training exercises. Not anymore. The carrier group received new orders. Full combat readiness. 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers formed a defensive screen. USS Michael Monsoor, USS Wayne E. Meyer, USS John Finn, USS Chung Hoon. Combined displacement, 36,800 tons. Combined missile cells, 384 vertical launch tubes, each tube loaded with SM-6 missiles, Tomahawks, or ASROC anti-submarine rockets. The Chinese submarine continued its patrol, still in international waters, still technically legal. But U.S. Navy attack submarines don't rely on legal frameworks, they rely on capability. USS Hawaii maintained contact. Distance, 6 nautical miles. A second Virginia-class submarine, USS Mississippi, joined the hunt at 7:02 a.m. 2 apex predators tracking 1 target. The Chinese captain knew he was boxed in. What would you have done in the Chinese captain's position? Continue the mission or retreat immediately? Comment your tactical decision below. At 8:47 a.m., the Type 093 made its move. Hard turn to starboard. Speed increased to 28 knots. Course, due west. Heading back toward Chinese territorial waters. Distance to safety, 4,200 nautical miles. But USS Hawaii and USS Mississippi weren't letting go. They shadowed the Chinese submarine, maintaining contact, broadcasting position updates every 6 minutes to Pacific Fleet Command. The real response came at 10:15 a.m. USS Connecticut, a Seawolf-class attack submarine, departed Pearl Harbor. Seawolf-class submarines represent America's ultimate underwater weapon. 9,150 tons submerged, crew of 140, armed with 50 weapons, 8 torpedo tubes, capable of launching Mark 48 torpedoes, Tomahawk missiles, and Harpoon anti-ship missiles. Top speed, classified, but estimated above 38 knots. Acoustic signature, nearly undetectable. Cost, $3.5 billion per vessel. 3 Seawolf-class submarines exist. USS Connecticut is one of them. Its deployment sent a message Beijing couldn't ignore. You sent your best submarine. We're sending ours. Meanwhile, the 2 Chinese Type 055 destroyers maintained course toward Hawaii. But U.S. naval intelligence wasn't sleeping. Satellites tracked their every movement. P-8 Poseidon aircraft monitored their radar emissions. Attack submarines positioned themselves along projected intercept courses. By 2:34 p.m., 4 U.S. submarines created a barrier 600 miles from Hawaiian waters. USS Hawaii, USS Mississippi, USS Connecticut, and USS Columbia. The Columbia is an Ohio-class guided missile submarine. 18,750 tons. Armed with 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Each missile carries a 1,000-pound warhead. Range, 1,000 miles. The Chinese destroyers stopped advancing at 4:18 p.m. distance from Hawaii, 670 nautical miles. They held position. Orders from Beijing finally came through. Stand down. The Type 093 submarine was now 890 miles west of Hawaii, still shadowed by USS Connecticut, still being tracked by satellite, still having every acoustic signature recorded and analyzed. But the U.S. response didn't stop. At 6:52 p.m., 4 F-35C Lightning II fighters launched from USS Carl Vinson, each armed with AGM-158C LRASM anti-ship missiles. Range, 200 miles. Each missile uses artificial intelligence targeting. Each missile can operate in complete radio silence. Each missile costs $3.9 million. The fighters conducted a simulated strike profile on the Chinese destroyers. They didn't fire. They didn't need to. Chinese radar operators watched as the F-35s achieved targeting lock. 4 times. The message was clear. We can reach you whenever we want. The Chinese destroyers turned around at 8:23 p.m., course northwest, speed 25 knots, heading back to Chinese territorial waters. The Type 093 submarine continued its retreat. USS Connecticut maintained pursuit until 11:47 p.m., then broke off contact. Distance 1,250 nautical miles from Hawaii. The Chinese submarine was no longer a threat, but every second of acoustic data was stored. Every propeller blade rate, every reactor signature, every tactical maneuver, all cataloged for future reference. Total cost of U.S. response: $847 million in operational expenses, 4 submarines deployed, 12 aircraft involved, 1 carrier strike group repositioned, 847 personnel on heightened alert status, duration 19 hours. But the intelligence gathered? Priceless. U.S. Navy now possesses complete acoustic profiles of China's Type 093 submarine. Future detection will be easier. Future tracking will be faster. Future responses will be more effective. Pentagon released a statement at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time on January 18th, carefully worded, diplomatically phrased. But the subtext was unmistakable. The United States maintains comprehensive awareness of all submarine activity within 1,000 nautical miles of Hawaiian waters. Any submarine operating in this zone will be detected, tracked, and shadowed. International law permits freedom of navigation. International law also permits defensive monitoring. Chinese Ministry of Defense responded 6 hours later. Their statement emphasized routine naval exercises, freedom of navigation principles, professional conduct by Chinese naval personnel. No mention of the Type 093's signals intelligence equipment. No mention of the 11-day tracking mission. No mention of the fact that their submarine was detected, cataloged, and shadowed for 890 nautical miles. Intelligence analysts noted something else. The Type 093 didn't collect much useful data. Why? Because the moment it was detected, U.S. Navy changed all training frequencies, altered all exercise patterns, switched all communication protocols. Every transmission the Chinese submarine recorded? Useless. Every frequency it monitored? Changed. Every pattern it analyzed? Obsolete. This is how modern naval warfare works. It's not about firing missiles. It's about information dominance. It's about showing your adversary that you see them, that you track them, that you can respond faster than they can act. The Chinese submarine came to spy. Instead, it became the subject of study. Was this encounter a strategic victory for the U.S. or a successful reconnaissance mission for China? Leave your analysis in the comments below. U.S. Navy's response revealed capabilities China didn't expect: the speed of detection, the coordination between submarines and aircraft, the seamless integration of satellite intelligence and sonar data, the willingness to deploy Seawolf-class submarines for tracking missions. These are lessons Beijing is studying right now. These are vulnerabilities they're trying to address. These are advantages America must maintain. The incident also exposed something else. Chinese submarine technology still lags behind U.S. capabilities. The Type 093 is quieter than older Chinese submarines, but it's louder than Virginia-class boats, louder than Seawolf-class boats. Chinese submarines rely on diesel-electric designs for coastal defense, nuclear submarines for long-range missions. But nuclear submarines generate noise. Reactor coolant pumps, steam turbines, reduction gears, all create acoustic signatures. U.S. submarines use advanced sound dampening, anechoic tiles on hulls, isolated machinery mounts, pump jet propulsion instead of propellers. The technology gap matters. Detection range matters. In submarine warfare, whoever detects first usually wins. USS Hawaii detected the Type 093 at 8 nautical miles. USS Connecticut could have detected it at 15 miles, maybe 20 miles in optimal conditions. The Chinese submarine never detected USS Connecticut, not once. Not even when Connecticut was 4 nautical miles away. That's dominance. That's technological superiority. But China is learning. Every encounter teaches them something. They analyze US response times. They study deployment patterns. They catalog submarine acoustic signatures, just like America does. The Type 093 that approached Hawaii. It recorded data even while being tracked. It monitored US communication frequencies. It analyzed radar patterns from P-8 aircraft. Intelligence gathering is a two-way street. The question isn't whether China will try again. The question is when. And what will they learn before then? The People's Liberation Army Navy operates 12 Type 093 submarines. They're building Type 095 submarines right now. Intelligence estimates suggest the Type 095 will be significantly quieter. Advanced pump jet propulsion, improved reactor designs, better sound dampening. The technology gap is narrowing. US Navy knows this. That's why every encounter matters. That's why tracking the Type 093 for 19 hours wasn't excessive. It was necessary. It was intelligence gathering. It was capability demonstration. It was deterrence. The more China knows about US submarine tracking capabilities, the more carefully they'll operate. The more risks they'll calculate, the more hesitation they'll show. And hesitation? In military strategy, hesitation is weakness. The Hawaiian incident will be studied in naval academies for years. It represents modern submarine warfare. No shots fired, no torpedoes launched, no casualties. But make no mistake, this was combat. Combat fought with sensors instead of weapons. Combat won by detection range and response speed. Combat that proved America's underwater dominance remains intact. For now, the Pacific Ocean covers 63 million square miles. Depth reaches 36,000 feet in the Mariana Trench. It's the perfect environment for submarine operations. China operates 79 submarines. America operates 68. Numbers favor China, but capability favors America. Technology favors America. Training favors America. Experience definitely favors America. But numbers matter in warfare. Quantity has a quality all its own. If China decides to surge multiple submarines toward Hawaii simultaneously, US Navy faces difficult decisions. Which submarines to track? Which to shadow? Which to engage? Resources are finite. Attack submarines can't be everywhere. That's China's long-term strategy. Build enough submarines. Operate enough submarines. Force America to make choices. The Type 093 near Hawaii was a probe, testing response times, testing detection capabilities, testing American resolve. The answers? Response time, 8 minutes. Detection capability, excellent. American resolve, unwavering. But China learned what they needed to learn. Next time, they'll adapt. Next time, they'll try something different. Next time, they'll be better prepared. This is the reality of great power competition. Every encounter is a lesson. Every deployment is practice for the real thing. Every shadow operation prepares both sides for potential conflict. Nobody wants war, but everybody prepares for it. That's how deterrence works. That's how peace is maintained. Not through wishful thinking, through strength, through capability, through constant vigilance. The Chinese submarine returned to port on January 23rd. Debriefing lasted 8 days, every acoustic recording analyzed, every US response cataloged, every lesson documented. Somewhere in Beijing, naval strategists are planning the next probe, the next test, the next challenge, because that's what rising powers do. They test, they push, they probe for weakness. And that's what dominant powers must do: respond, track, demonstrate capability, show strength, maintain superiority. The moment America hesitates, the moment America shows weakness, adversaries will exploit it. This isn't about aggression. This is about deterrence. This is about maintaining the balance of power that has prevented major war in the Pacific for 80 years. One submarine near Hawaii, one response operation, $847 million spent, 19 hours of high-intensity operations, 4 attack submarines deployed, 12 aircraft involved, 1 carrier strike group repositioned. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Because the alternative is to let adversaries operate freely, to let them collect intelligence without consequence, to let them believe America won't respond. That's how wars start, not with battles, with miscalculation. The Pacific remains contested. The submarine war continues, not with explosions, with detection, not with casualties, with capability. This is 21st century naval warfare. Silent, sophisticated, decisive. If you found this tactical breakdown valuable, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss detailed military analysis like this. This kind of research takes hours to compile from multiple intelligence sources and naval documentation. Your subscription directly supports more in-depth coverage of modern naval operations. Which submarine do you think is quieter? Virginia-class or Type 093? Which Navy has better anti-submarine warfare capabilities? Drop your thoughts below and let's discuss the future of underwater warfare in the comments. Hit that like button if you appreciate detailed military analysis without sensationalism. Share this video with anyone interested in modern naval strategy. The next probe is already being planned. The next encounter is coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens when China tests American resolve again. Because they will test it again. Count on it.